This is my 2021 Nissan Navara NP300 pickup, and in this video I'm going to change the transmission oils. I'm going to change the oil in the rear differential, the front differential, and in the transfer box. But I'm not going to do the oil in the automatic gearbox. And then this is the oil that I bought. So first, the front differential. The Nissan owner's manual states it should be a GL-5 80W90 gear oil, and that's exactly what I've got, and it takes 0.85 of a litre. So that's for the front diff. And then for the transfer case, the Nissan manual says it should be ATF D3M oil. And this is what I've got from Renault, their DTF transfer fluid, and it takes 1.5 litres. And then for the rear differential, the owner's manual in the UK anyway says it should be a 75W80 gear oil. And as you can see, I've opted to use 75W90. So it's actually very similar oil, but this will be slightly thicker when it's hot. And actually the Nissan owner's manual recommends this oil, the 75W90, in other markets. I guess it depends on the climate. I've decided to put this oil in the rear differential primarily because I use this vehicle for towing. Actually, in the UK, most oil finder websites recommend this same oil for the rear diff too, whether you're using the Renault, Castrol or other websites. And when I was deciding whether to use the recommended 75W80 or this 75W90 oil, I used AI. And Grok was a very useful source of information which explained the differences between the oil and why you might want to use one over another. And it puts all the information in a really simple and understandable way. And I'll leave that running up the screen so you can have a quick read. So I've just bought this truck and it's done 52,000 miles, so I'm going to change the oil. But as to when you should actually be doing it, well, again, there's a lot of mixed information about that. I've seen the Nissan service schedule online where they say the differential oil only needs changing every 8 years or 72,000 miles. But then I've seen others that say every 30,000 miles or so. And that same Nissan service schedule said the oil in the transfer box only needs changing every 7 years or 63,000 miles. But anyway, as this truck has now done over 52,000 miles, it's a good idea to change these oils. This channel has had over 15 million views, yet only has 40,000 subscribers, whereas it should be 3 to 4 times that, because over 90% of the viewers are not subscribed. Please do, it's completely free, it's only a click for you and it really does help. So first, let's do the rear differential. So on this, the fill plug is a 10mm square socket, and the drain plug is a 10mm Allen socket. And when you're doing jobs like this, a set of mixed drain keys is just invaluable. I think I got this on Amazon, but I'll put the link to it in the video description below. So changing the oil in the rear differential, the front diff and the transfer case is a simple job, and it's all the same method. And you simply drain the oil out of the drain plug and fill it back up to the level of the fill plug here. However, you want to take the fill plug out first, just in case that doesn't come out, because if you've taken the drain plug out and emptied it of oil and then find that you can't take this plug out, you've ruined yourself. So I'm going to make sure I can crack that open before I drain it of oil. And it's a good job too, because that's not budging. So with a bit of extra leverage on there, sizing this up to a 1/4 inch breaker bar, that's coming out okay. There's a lot of sealant on the thread on that, and that's why that was so stiff. But the drain plug cracked off really easy. So we can now take that out and let the oil come out. I don't know whether you can see, that is really clean. So much cleaner than I was expecting. That looks like that's just been changed. It looks brand new. But it's strange because this magnet on the end of the drain plug has quite a bit of swarf on it, yet that oil is so clean. But anyway, I've cleaned that up and I'm going to put a new aluminium washer on there, and that is a M18 by 24. And that's the drain plug out, and that's how it came out. It's that clean. And while there was sealant on it, it's only in the first bit of thread. It's not on the rest of the threads. So when you're happy all the oil is out, we can put this back in and start filling it up. But I'm not sure what the correct torque value is for this. I know the engine drain plug is 50 Newton meters, so it'll be something like this. But anyway, I'll try to look it up and put it on the screen. So filling the diff back up with oil is really simple. You simply pour the oil into the fill hole until it starts dribbling out, and that should be 3.5 litres. And fortunately on these, the straw, or the pipe is quite long on the end, and I've got plenty of space here so I can pour it straight in out of the bottle, because I've also removed the spare wheel here to give me a bit of space. But quite often I'd use a syringe because I wouldn't have the luxury of having the space to get the bottle in. And that's the 3rd litre going in. So that's the last bottle going in, and that's just starting to drip. But that was more than 3.5 litres. Actually, it wasn't much over. I'd say it was 3.6 litres because this bottle wasn't a new bottle and it wasn't completely full. But now that's filled to the level, we can simply put the fill plug back in. So now for that front differential, and the fill plug is at the front of the car. This is the front of the vehicle, halfway up there, and the drain plug is on the side at the bottom there. And they're both a 10mm Allen key. So like before, we just want to crack off the fill plug first, so we're sure we can get that out before we take the drain plug out. And then we can remove the drain plug, and we'll see what the oil is like here. Again, that's like new. I'm amazed it's so clean. And the drain plug requires an 18 by 24 washer. And I'll put the link to this set in the video description below, because it's really handy having a bulk set of aluminium washers like this. And the fill plug has the same 18 by 24 washer one as well. So that's the drain plug back in, but there's not much room here to refill this, so I'm going to have to use the syringe for this one. But anyway, we've now got to put in 0.85 of a litre, or until it starts dribbling out, of this ATW90. While I like Renault oils, their bottles are a pain if you're not using the built-in spout, which actually is very good. But if you want to take the whole cap off, it's a right pain, because this locking ring at the bottom is really tough. So on most bottles, you can turn that cap and crack the ring off by hand, but I've had pliers on this, really big pliers, and it just would not break, and you have to use a knife and cut the ring off, and even then you've got to cut every little nodule. They're surprisingly tough when they really don't need to be, and that's taken a long time just to get the top off of this bottle. So I can now fill the syringe with oil and transfer it up to that front differential. And that's now filled up until the oil dribbled out there again, and that has taken pretty much all of it. It said it would be 0.85 of a litre, that's over 0.9 of a litre. So next, the transfer box, and again it's nice and simple. We've got the drain plug here and the fill plug here, both on the same side, and these are 18mm. You just need an 18mm spanner or socket. And it takes 1.5 litres of oil, and I hope it really is, because I've got a used bottle here and I've only got 1.6 litres of oil available. So again, we'll crack off the fill plug first, which weirdly isn't done up tight, but then both bolts stick out on this, so maybe you don't do them up massively tight. Anyway, they look like that. And then we'll do the drain plug, and I'm going to catch it in my oil pan there, even though that's just out of shot. Yeah, again, this wasn't tight, so I've got to look up the torque values for these when doing them back up, because clearly they don't go all the way in. And this is red ATF fluid, and I'm not sure whether you can see, but that all looks clean as well. So I would imagine these oils have all been changed recently on this vehicle before I bought it, because I've only had this a week or so. But weirdly, while this has got 5 service stamps and it's done 52,000 miles, the cabin filter hasn't been changed for years, and you would have thought if this was having thorough services and had the transmission oils done, you would have thought that the garage would have changed the cabin filter. And the cabin filter in this had been in the vehicle for at least 4 years. It was absolutely filthy. So when you're happy that all the oil is drained out, you can then put the plug back in, and this doesn't have a washer on it. And then do that back up. I'm using the syringe again, and we've just got to fill that up until it dribbles out. Taken all 1.6 litres of oil I've got, and hasn't really started dripping out yet. But anyway, I've got no more, but I'm sure that's okay. I'll put 1.6 litres in. So there we go, that's all done, and by the looks of it, probably didn't need doing on my truck. But anyway, you don't know until you take that oil out. So I hope you found that interesting. If you have, please do click the thumbs up, because that really does help. And I'll put links to those oils and all the other information in the video description below. And also, if you want to know more about the Nissan Navara NP300 pickup, I'll put a link below to a playlist where you can see other videos I've made. Okie doke, see you soon. If you like the video, please do click the thumbs up button, and leaving a comment also helps too. Plus, of course, subscribe if you're not. If the video saved you time or money, a little support via Ko-fi or the Super Thanks button would mean a lot. There's over 1,300 videos on the channel, so have a browse, use the search, and have a look at the playlists. And here's 2 videos you may want to check out.